Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cali Blitz. I am William del Pilar, your California conservative Latino. And this is my version of Fired Up California, the lightning round. And as you heard, I name it the Cali Blitz, where I break down some of the stories going around the state, as well as some that have gone under the radar. In this episode, the Redlands School Board bullied for protecting kids, California's governor's race in August 2025 snapshot. A mom's car is stolen in LA with 3 kids inside. San Diego County votes to tap financial reserves. Trump revokes Kamala Harris's Secret Service protection. And my former representative, Randy Duke Cunningham, passes. Then there's gas prices, high-speed rail. I'm going to take a quick look at some of these stories. But before I do that, I do want to take a slightly deeper look into California's identity support plans. Why? Because that's in the news. And you're asking, what's that? Well, you'll discover it's another notorious plan where public schools usurp parental rights. Before I begin, though, do not forget to click the thumbs up and like while you listen. And make sure you bookmark grumblingsmedia.com and check out our new swag we have. We have some one killer shirt I love, but they're all killer shirts. And we have a nice looking mug, to be quite honest. And you can support our all volunteer venture. Right now, I think we're selling them all at cost just to get some of the gear out and get the word out. And follow us on your favorite platform like YouTube, Rumble, Apple, Spotify, and Pandora under the handle Grumblings Media. So let's get into it. Like I said, I'm not going to do a lightning round with this story. I wanted to spend a couple extra minutes on it. But California's identity support plans. It's a state-controlled secret plan. Well, not secret, but a state-controlled secrecy over parental rights. So California's identity support plans are back in the headlines. Yeah, this is legal, has been. Why is it back in the headline? Well, Santa Ana Unified's policy was exposed for excluding parents from life-altering decisions about their children's gender identity. This was reported by the California Globe. The public records revealed that hundreds of students have been placed on confidential plans with parental notification in only a handful of the cases. In essence, their kids are identifying as transgender. Some of them may be being pushed towards surgery, and the parents are not being told. I'm speculating on that, but that's kind of like how it's going, and that's what the Democrats are stating they want to protect. If a child wants to be able to, transition, then they should have every right. And that's what they're hiding from the parents. Or that's what their ultimate goal is, to hide from the parents. Now, these policies are now backed by state law, and it allows schools to conceal gender identity changes from parents, prioritizing ideology over family and triggering national backlash. Now you're saying, no, wait, that can't be true. What you talking about, boy? I said, you sure you right? AB 1955 prohibits schools from disclosing a student's gender identity or orientation without the student's consent. All this despite the fact it's a parent's ultimate responsibility to care and raise a child, including taking responsibility for the bad things the child does. Yet ideological bigotry by the Socialist Democratic Party in California is usurping that role. And it's not by accident. IDSP's confidential identity support plans are used by districts like Santa Ana Unified to bypass parental involvement. Thus, the school is making decisions only the parent should make. Then AB 957 uses gender affirmation as a custody factor. And that was literally created outrage. So they amended it. But the intent was clear and is clear. These laws protect LGBTQ students from unsafe or unaccepting homes in their eyes. That's what progressives say. Yet students like the Minnesota shooter, who no longer wanted to be trans, but was kind of stuck. What was his outlet? Killing innocent kids and letting the hate foster. Why he only had one avenue or only had one road he could take. And that was a Democrat ideological narrative of you're a transgender, deal with it. And that's the problem. Once some of this change starts to happen, you're stuck. Now, this individual in Minnesota had not fully transitioned yet. But regardless, in California, students have a right to privacy, especially around this type of gender identity and sexual orientation. And all they're doing is creating more Minnesota shooters. Students are under the care and responsibility of their parents until they are 18. And scenarios like this need to be a family discussion, not the school dictating what will happen, which is what they are currently doing. Now, you do have parents who will go along with this, and that's fine. No, it's not fine, actually, because what happens, we get more Minnesota shootings out of this. We get more Nashville-style shooters out of this. Over the last couple of years, 5 to 7 of these mass shootings have been done by transgenders. It's like a 500% increase. But what do Democrats do? Oh, no, since 2013 to 2025. I'm talking about the last 2 years. And then you see the disparity. And that's what Democrats want to hide. Mandatory parental notification could lead to abuse, rejection, or homelessness, is what Democrats say. What they're doing is they're assuming the worst in order to take control. Suicide rates among these individuals are high. We're seeing a surge again in mass shootings by transgenders, as pointed out in my Red, White, and Rude podcast, my Fired Up California podcast, and my Fired Up Conservative Talk podcast. Schools, I'm sorry, I said that. Go check them out at grumblingsmedia.com or YouTube or Rumble under the handle Grumblings Media. Sorry, folks, it's a plug. Regardless, schools should be safe spaces where students can explore identity without fear, is what Democrats are saying. Schools should always be safe spaces, I say, but to teach and not indoctrinate and not explore sexuality, as that is the parent's job to help their child, to help navigate their child through. Now, here's the big lie. Teachers aren't banned from speaking with parents. They're just not required to. That's not true. I'll get into that in a second. But raising a child is a parent's responsibility, with the school having input because they spend a lot of time with the kids. But it's not the school's job to usurp that role. Democrats say custody laws should consider whether parents affirm their child's identity to ensure emotional support. That's where AB 495 comes in. And if it's ever passed, it would allow this specific reason as a basis to take a child from the parent. The courts could award control to somebody else. That person could come in any day of the week and just take the child from the school grounds, for example. Some more conservative counterpoints, or as I call them, the truth. Unsafe homes is a vague excuse to justify state secrecy. Because a parent doesn't want their child to go through gender transition, the Democrat-ruled state government would use that as justification to say it's an unsafe home. Most parents aren't abusers, they're protectors. Privacy rights don't override parental authority, especially when minors are involved. Shielding parents from critical information doesn't prevent harm. It prevents healing. Don't believe me? Look at the Nashville shooter. Look at the Minnesota shooter. Schools aren't neutral. They're pushing ideology under the guise of safety. AB 1955 makes it illegal to notify parents even when teachers want to. It's not optional like they claim. It's enforced silence. AB 957 tried to weaponize custody battles to punish parents who don't comply with state-approved ideology. California's identity support plans aren't about safety. No, they're about control, and legislatures are pushing this. AB 1955 makes it illegal, once again, for schools to notify parents about gender changes, as AB 957 weaponizes the custody battles to enforce this ideological compliance. It's sad but true. And if most parents, regardless of political party, knew this, they'd fight it. Where's the Republican Party and our Republican candidates? This is frontline talking points on a campaign trail. The truth is the left has rebranded secrecy as compassion and declared parents a threat. And while we conservatives see it clearly, this is state-sanctioned gaslighting with minimal pushback. Most California constituents don't. And we must get the word out. This isn't progress. It's authoritarianism wrapped in rainbow flags. I wanted to get that out to you guys because it's important. This is happening now. Y'all may ignore it because it's not your kid, but hell, you wouldn't know if it was your kid, to be quite honest. We always want to think the best of our kids, but if they're being indoctrinated and that's being held in secret, what do you really know? Oh, my child always talks to me. He's my best friend. That's the problem. That's why we have so many messed up. You are the parent. Please get involved. Schools aren't there to babysit your kids. Schools are there to help you raise your kids, but 90% of the raising is your part. 10% is the schools. All right. Before we go on, real quick, check out our swag, the classic Grumblings coffee mug. I love it. Here's mine. I sound like a broken record. Every podcast, here's mine. And then I always say, please support our all-volunteer cause. But it's true, you can. We're all volunteers doing this. My partner and I have sunk thousands into it out of love and passion for what we do. But a little support from you all would be tremendous. All right, let's get into the heart of what this clip or episode is about. The Cali Blitz. Oh, I'm sorry, real quick. You can swap or swipe the QR code. It'll take you straight to our store. Or you can go to grumblingsmedia.com and check out the store there. All right, let's get to our Cali Blitz lightning round. Mom's car stolen in LA. 3 kids inside. A kidnapping suspect crashes a stolen car with 3 children on board in Malibu. In Newsom's, California, my friends, even a routine stop can turn into a kidnapping, a high-speed chase, and a multi-car crash. Public safety isn't just failing, it's gone. So just the other day, a suspect stole a running Chrysler sedan in East LA with 3 kids inside, ages 2, 6, and 8. Not even hit the prepubescent kids, young children. The father tried to intervene. He got dragged, suffered upper body injuries. Police chase began, spanned LA County, ended in a violent multi-car crash in Malibu. The suspect then fled barefoot through brush and neighborhoods, stripping himself of clothing. Eventually, the California Highway Patrol arrested him. The children were rescued from the wreckage. They were hospitalized, non-life-threatening injuries, thank God. The father was injured while trying to stop the theft, and there were other victims. One woman was hospitalized from the crash. The suspect is in custody, hospitalized, charges pending. I throw his ass in jail and just let him suffer. But then again, that's the Latino, emotional, angry man in me. I would eventually do the right thing. But man, doesn't that burn you up? This carjacking with 3 young kids inside the car, it wasn't just car theft. It was a kidnapping, assault, and public endangerment wrapped into one. The suspect didn't just flee. He tore through neighborhoods, crashed into families, and ran half naked through Malibu. And yet, this is just another Friday night in Newsom's, California, where criminals roam free and families get dragged through hell. Trump revokes Kamala Harris's Secret Service protection. Vice presidents get 6 months of protection. Kamala Harris got 18. And now Democrats are melting down because Trump revoked the extension. Luckily, in today's social media world, their spin collapses on contact with the truth. So what happened? Trump issued a memo to DHS last week revoking her extended Secret Service protection. Again, you're only supposed to get 6 months of your VP, and Biden decided to secretly extend this without telling anybody. Now, Trump canceled it 10 months early. Ironically, it takes effect September 1st, just before her national book tour. She can foot her own security. There were no new threats found. And the White House is pretty much putting her on par with every other VP, stating current conditions don't justify continued protection. Now, California officials are scrambling to provide alternative security. It's not our job, neither, here in California. Our tax dollars shouldn't be paying for this. She's a multi-zillionaire. She can afford it herself. Harris is abusing a privilege meant for short-term transition, not long-term political installation. Now, Democrats are crying racism and revenge, but the law is clear and the threat assessment backs Trump's move. This is another Democrat fail. They weaponize identity politics, but in today's digital world, the truth hits faster than their spin. They're not mad about the protection. They're mad they lost control of the narrative. That's why they're so desperate to regulate the internet, throttle dissent, and bury inconvenient facts. The bottom line, Harris got more than the law allowed, and now she's playing victim because the free ride ended. All right, a snapshot into California's governor race. It's wide open. Early polls showing fractured support, rising outsiders, and a tidal wave of undecided voters. Some of the priorities in this race, the cost of living. That's the top concern statewide. Housing affordability, especially among younger and my brethren Latinos. Homelessness still top of the mind in urban centers. So what's the polling breakdown? Katie Porter is the early front runner. Woo! I just get chills looking at her. Chad Bianco is a law and order Republican. Well, Berkeley has her up by 17%, Emerson College 18%, Katie Porter, early front runner. She's riding name ID and Kamala's exit bump. Chad Bianco, law and order Republican. Berkeley has him at 10%, Emerson College at 7%. He's strong in the Inland Empire, but he's also has the ability and a high ceiling to rise with crime-focused voters. Now, Steve Hilton, he's an English guy, just got his U.S. citizenship. Emerson College has him at 12%. He's overperforming with anti-establishment conservatives. And Javier Becerra is the establishment pick. He's at 9% per Berkeley. Emerson College has him at 3%. It's soft, but he has deep donor ties. Now, here's the kicker, though. 38% in both polls are undecided. So right now, this race is truly a blank canvas. And nobody's really, truly taken a hard grip on the lead. Katie Porter's in the early lead as California governor's race begins to take shape now that Kamala's dropped out. This is my first of many reports on it. On the conservative side, Chad Bianco is doing surprisingly well. And again, he has a higher ceiling with Californians who see crime as a problem. And yes, Steve Hilton has the money, and he's courting the anti-establishment conservative vote. But it's ironic because Hilton, when he was in politics in the UK, was establishment. Go figure. And he's also just recently a citizen. So I'm not sure I want somebody like that, but I haven't decided in pure honesty. No candidate's broken 20%. So right now it's name recognition, and it's not a mandate. Porter's lead is really soft, and she's vulnerable to challengers who have sharper messaging, more charismatic, and sad, it's true, better looking. Bianco and Hilton, they're carving their space out on the Republican side, but we can only afford to have one. The other one's going to have to drop out, so something has to happen there. But voters, they're courting the voters that are fed up with crime, taxes, and institutional failure. So they have a good chance of getting the moderate vote or the NPP vote. It means they haven't designated a party. They're not part of a party. No party preference, that's it. Javier Becerra's numbers are flat, but he's a known quantity. So don't rule him out. And again, with 38 undecided, this is a messaging war right now, not a coronation for anybody. All right, the Redlands School Board bullied for protecting kids. So in Redlands, California, I posted their Facebook group, good bunch of people there. A conservative school board majority took action to shield children from sexually explicit content. In other words, they were talking about, well, we can't have books that show them how to give oral sex at a prepubescent age like you Democrats want, like you transgenders want, like the LGBTQT want. And it triggered a backlash that exposed just how far activists will go to silence parental authority. So a conservative 3-2 majority on the Redlands School Board passed policies to fast-track book reviews and remove obscene classroom content. The backlash against them was immediate. Left-leaning activists flooded meetings, heckled board members, threatened them, and launched what Candy Olson called a massive hate campaign. Now, Candy Olson is a conservative board member and vocal advocate for parental rights. She doesn't care if you're Democrat, Republican, moderate, MPP, whatever. She wants you, the parent, to make the choices, not the Democrat Party. So she's an advocate for parental rights and child protection in school content. Now, the dissenting members, as they always do, claim the policies target LGBTQ plus books and undermine librarians. But the real issue is parental rights. And yes, it's not a matter of targeting the LGBTQ books. They're the ones pushing those books. And then they're claiming, you're a victim, you're attacking me. No, we're attacking the books that talk about anal sex, oral fixation to prepubescent and young kids. This isn't censorship. It's about protecting kids from sexually explicit material and restoring moral clarity in schools. I never thought I'd find myself in this position growing up, but I am, because parents are the ones who should be doing this. And we have crossed the moral line of Sodom and Gomorrah with all this nonsense. Critics warn of lawsuits and financial waste. That's not financial waste when you're standing up for a parent's rights. But they ignore the cost of exposing minors to graphic content. The California Globe, which is where I found this, it frames this as a battle against the woke agenda, and Redlands is now a frontline fight for parental control in public education. All right. San Diego County votes to tap financial reserves. This is my neck of the woods. I am in San Diego County. The Board of Supervisors is my representation. San Diego had billions in the black. Now under Democrat control, the county's digging into reserves to fund perpetual programs, robbing Mary to pay Paul with no Peter left, unless Peter is higher taxes on we the people. So what happened? The board voted 3-2 to change reserve policy. It's a Democrat-controlled board of supervisors. 3-2 to vote to change reserve policy. The Democrat majority, Lawson Remmer, Montgomery Stepp, Aguirre, they pushed it through. The Republicans, Anderson and Desmond, voted no, calling it reckless, which I agree. Now, there's a second reading that's scheduled for September on this. But the spending the funds requires 4/5 vote. So Democrats need one Republican to flip. They're going to push hard in this next election when Desmond turns out to get a Democrat in to make this happen. So what changes? The reserve target is lowered from $973 million to $945 million, shrinking the county's emergency cushion. Now, the reserves now include all locally controlled funds, not just unassigned dollars. And that gives supervisors broader access to previously protected money. These changes could unlock $380 million over the next 4 years. Money Democrats say will offset federal cuts, but critics like myself warn it's nothing but a short-term fix that guts long-term stability. In a nutshell, the Democrat-controlled San Diego's Board of Supervisors is a microcosm of national decay. Republicans build reserves for emergencies. Democrats burn through them for optics and favors. Now, that said, rhinos at the national level do the same. Through bloated programs, union kickbacks, and reckless spending, San Diego Democrats are gutting the budget, and they're raiding their rainy day fund. This isn't fiscal responsibility. It's a bailout for unsustainable political indulgence. Reserves were meant for for real crisis. They're not meant to mask San Diego County Democrat failures or to bankroll empty promises. These Democrats, once again, San Diego County Board of Supervisors Democrats, are using reserve access to float bonuses, dodge reforms, and sidestep accountability. Conservatives warned. I warned. I remember when I saw this potentially happening if Democrats were the majority on the board, and I warned about this. Hand over the surplus, and the siphoning begins. This is a Newsom Democrat-style budgeting. Drain the bank now, or the tank now, tax the public later. And when the reserves run dry, they won't cut spending. They'll come for our wallets. All right. Let me show you my final piece of swag here. Para mi Latinos here in San Diego County. ¿Quién es más macho? Sabemos quién es más macho. El presidente Trump es el más macho. Come on, Latinos, support my all-volunteer project here. and pick up a swag and show the world who is the most macho president of them all. El Presidente Trump. California gas prices spiked before Labor Day. So Labor Day will be over by the time you see this. But California gas prices are surging again. And it's not just refinery maintenance. It's Democrat policy failure. And we, the working class, keep paying it. Last week, statewide averages hit $4.59 per gallon, up 8 cents from the previous week and 12 cents from last month. Los Angeles and Long Beach area, they hit $4.61, 14 cents higher than a month ago, and now above last year's prices. The Auto Club blames unplanned refinery maintenance and wholesale price spikes. Sure. You don't think it's the taxes on gas? It's the seasonal gases we have? Don't give us that nonsense, Auto Club, you leftist hacks. This is only the second major jump in 2025, but we're paying now in some areas more than we did in 2024. Look, this one's got teeth. On a national level, energy prices are a product of rhinos and Democrats. However, here in California, we're not shocked anymore when gas prices spike. We're conditioned to expect pain at the pump. Why? Seasonal blends, hidden fees, and endless taxes. Democrats claim to fight for the poor here in California, but their energy policies punish the working class family every time we fill up. Oh, they'll blame Trump. They'll blame the oil companies. They'll blame maintenance, as the Auto Club does. But we, the voter, know better. We warned this would happen: overregulation, green mandates, and supply chokeholds. It all drives prices up. And where's the Republican Party? The media spin moves fast, but truth only lands when someone's willing to deliver it face-to-face, my friends. Our side won't campaign in blue districts. They fear the battlefield. That's not strategy, it's cowardice. And until we do that, most constituents in blue districts will believe this is a Republican issue. Why? Because that's what the Democrats state it is, despite the fact they have a supermajority in the legislature. The bottom line is California leads the nation in gas prices. Democrats lead in excuses, and the Republican Party refuses to lead at all. If you won't fight where voters live, California Republican Party, don't pretend you're fighting for them or us. Well, what's in the news? California high-speed rail hits another snag. Newsom's rail to nowhere hits another wall. The state's most expensive boondoggle keeps bleeding money, dodging accountability, and proving conservatives are right again. So what happened? A couple of days ago, Senate Bill 445, aimed at streamlining high-speed rail construction, died in the legislature's suspense file. Thank God. Oh my God. Authored by the LGBTQ plus and pedophiles of California's favorite politician, Senator Scott Wiener. The bill would have eased permitting and land acquisition delays, killed without public debate, opposed by utilities, local governments, and buried by Democrats. It was a loser. Now, Wiener, God, what a prophetic name he has for his lifestyle. He vows to reintroduce this in 2026, despite the fact nobody wants it. A reminder, in August, the Trump administration canceled $175 million in federal funding, and that followed a $4 billion cut in July. Design work, overcrossings, and the Merced station were all impacted. Now, Merced officials said they were blindsided by delays. Please. Look, conservatives warned this would happen, bloated, mismanaged, and politically protected. It's nothing but a boondoggle. The rail project is a monument to Newsom's ego, not a solution for working class or any working Californian. Democrats shove accountability in secret files while chasing climate optics and federal grants. High-speed rail is part of all that. The CHSRA keeps pushing forward with state funds despite no clear path to completion. A boondoggle. This is the infrastructure. It's ideology on rails, and taxpayers, we're stuck with the bill. The bottom line, the rail to nowhere keeps burning cash, dodging oversight, and proving that in California, failure is funded, aka rewarded. All right, my final story of the night is Randy Duke Cunningham dies at 83. Most of you don't know who he is. He was my congressman, a war hero turned lawmaker, and sadly, he proved my belief. Power corrupts. It corrupts absolutely. The longer someone stays in power, the more likely they become corrupt. Cunningham got caught. Most don't. So what happened? 83 years old, Randy Duke Cunningham died in Little Rock, Arkansas. I believe he moved there after living here for decades upon decades to take care of his mother and to get away from the anger and vitriol he had created here by becoming corrupt. He was a decorated Vietnam War pilot, the first Navy ace of the conflict, served 8 terms in Congress, 16 years, representing my district many of those years in San Diego County. In 2005, he pled guilty to accepting $2.4 million in bribes from defense contractors. So this was 20 years ago. That's why most of you don't remember. The bribes included a Rolls Royce, a yacht, and a mansion bought at inflated price. Think about that. A congressman, a retired war vet. Where do you get the money for that? I mean, he was so obvious about it. It was disgusting. He was sentenced to over 8 years in federal prison, one of the longest for a sitting congressman. He was pardoned by Trump in 2021. Look, Cunningham started as a hero, but power corrupted him. His downfall validates what we already knew, what I already knew, what you already know. Politics rewards corruption, and the odds of getting caught are slim. Pelosi, Ryan, Boner, Schumer, they've mastered the game. Some have left to go on to greater riches. Some are still in power collecting money. Look at Pelosi. Cunningham, he just got sloppy. He thought he was untouchable. He wasn't. But he's the exception, not the rule. Most of these corrupt politicians never face consequences. Pelosi, Schumer, McConnell, Boehner, and yes, Paul Ryan too. Despite his fall from grace, he did help thousands of his constituents and was a war hero. Look, when they say, quote, it's complicated, unquote, Randy Duke Cunningham comes to mind. That's it, people. Thank you for listening to a special episode of the Cali Blitz, my fired up California lightning round takes. Don't forget to like and share this podcast. And remember these stories when the topic of politics and who to vote for comes up. Press our constituency to remember what Democrats have done. I always say the Republican Party in California can't be counted on, so it's up to us, the people, to fight these battles. Again, before I go, hit like or thumbs up and share this podcast. Then bookmark grumblingsmedia.com. And while you're at it, check out our swag. You can also follow us on YouTube, Rumble, Apple, Spotify under the profile Grumblings Media. Until next time, I am William del Pilar, and this has been the Cali Blitz lightning round of California news. Stay vigilant, stay safe, and get involved.
Hey everybody, this is Big John from Grumblings Media, and I just want to say thank you for watching our content. If you want to support our efforts here at Grumblings Media, just smash the subscribe button right here, totally free, or just go ahead and consume more of our great content. Click either one of these 2 boxes.